Hey guys, welcome back to some more Super Mario 64. We finished up the first area of the game and now we're ready to head down to the basement.
I take it
You
you
keep saying that, but I don't agree with you.
Oh, I wonder why. I mean, there's no outside area that's in the first area, is there?
No, but I always considered Big Boo's Hunt to be part of the first area.
That's what I'm referencing here. The outside as in the backyard with Big Boo's Haunt. That's still part of the first area, but there's one star I can't do. What the heck, Bunny?
Well, wait, hold up. Wait. How is he?
Yeah, I don't know how that
that.
happened, but I had enough force to push him onto the other platform.
Okay,
That's interesting.
but I was about to say, did you start a new recording session or something?
Well, that too. Whenever I beat a main area of the game, I'll save and quit, stop, and then go back to it later. So you'll be able to tell if my lives are 4 because Super Mario 64, along with the Mario Galaxy games, resets your life counter to 4.
I don't know why.
Safe.
I'm not sure why for Galaxy games. This game kind of made sense, but not for the Galaxies.
But Sunshine did do that, right?
Sunshine fixed that issue where they saved your lives, which was a good thing. And then they forgot about it in Mario,
Which is a good thing
Galaxy
because
1 and 2.
Sunshine is actually one of the hardest Mario games in the series, in my opinion.
Well, especially for 100%ing, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Looking at you, Bloodchinko Machine. That was probably one of the worst stars in the whole entire game. My least favorite.
Camera.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I
what-
turned the camera to make this
What
easier.
Shine Spray was your least favorite?
The Bloodchinko Machine, basically like the pinball equivalent of Nightmare.
Wait, what'd you call it? Pachinko?
Bloodchinko, yeah. Or
Yeah,
however you pronounce
There's no
it.
L in there.
Well, however you pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce it at this current moment. You know how me and pronunciations are bad. Also good with grammar.
You know, I'm surprised you didn't
So-
do this on your channel first before doing this, you know?
Well, at the same time, I've done at least one video on this game already, and plus, I was waiting until I had some more people watching to go into some more over-popular games. I already pushed it on my channel before when I did Ocarina of Time, but that was a really good project, so I don't mind it. And also, this is where I almost get the star. I was so angry when I missed this. It's possible to get over that gate and land in the star. One time, I was literally like 1 centimeter away from that star. That really frustrates a man right there. And it's the best thing to get if you can get it.
Yes, because Vanish Cap is useless.
Vanish Cap is, but Metal Cap's the most useless. Like I said in the previous part, I only use it twice. Once when you have to get it, and then just to get the 100 coins in Hazy Maze Cave.
Yeah,
After that, I skip it.
Actually, Vanish Cap is surprisingly useful.
Yeah, because you use it a lot more than you would think. It's basically invincibility for a certain amount of time. Because you're invisible, but at the same time, your hitbox is also invisible for enemies, so they can't hit you.
Oh yeah, but there's also a glitch that if you climb trees while being invisible, it allows you to go through any other geometry.
Really now?
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's not that many
Come on.
levels you can try that out with, so that's why I never knew that.
No,
Actually,
the thing is,
what levels
I don't
are
think
you
there's
can do that?
officially any levels that have both the invisibility cap, the Vanish Cap, and the and trees. But in some mods of this game, that really becomes a huge factor.
Well, are you able to do that just while climbing things? Because
Yeah.
there's poles in other levels.
No, but I think it's specifically trees. I don't know why.
Now, that doesn't make that much sense, because I could think maybe you can do it with poles, but I know some games are picky like that. Which is
You
weird,
know-
because it's a glitch.
You know,
Not
to add
supposed to be in
another topic to the table, I should ask, what is everybody's opinion of the DS version of this game?
It's the complete version of the game, in all honesty, with the most bug fixes. But I still prefer the original.
I honestly think it's just a completely separate game.
For the most part, it's also a separate game, yeah.
I don't think that you can compare them on any sort of level.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause it's really drastically different. It's not a port at all. You can obviously tell it's a remake where they completely
no,
changed
it's
different ideas.
It's a reimagining.
Well, yeah, to be more exact, reimagining. I usually just call it remake anyways.
It's a different sun.
I know there is. I usually still just call them remakes just because of force of habit.
But as an architecture purist, I do prefer this version. Because at least in this version, all the interior of the castle actually fits in the castle.
Oh
Like-
yeah, true.
The
Because a lot of the stuff they added in for DS, they kept the original layout of the hub. So because of that, there were certain things that just kind of got thrown in, and it kind of seemed a little mismatched here and there.
Yeah.
Echo.
Well, I think, like, the main thing about the DS version that bothered me was how many times you had to freaking switch between characters. That it kind of reminded me of Donkey Kong 64 in that aspect.
Well, I didn't mind that as much simply because it was really only the hub world you had to deal with that, and certain Bowser levels, and that's it. Because if you went in any level with Yoshi after you unlock characters, then you can just use their caps. So it's basically a character select in the levels themselves, and I prefer that.
And thing is also, again, from maybe a nostalgia point of view, but they nerfed Chain Shop.
Yeah, they kind of did, but that's because of how hard it was for people to take care of Chain Jump in the original.
Well, I think it was to complement the control pad since you weren't using a control stick too.
Oh, well, there's that too. Even though the touchscreen acted like a joystick, it was still really inaccurate.
So yeah, the controls were not ideal. Can we agree to that?
Yeah. I honestly want to see how that would work just being playing it on a 3DS. Even though it's still digital control, I would just want to see if that would feel more comfortable. Just since I don't really have a 3DS of my own, I wouldn't be able to test it. I just imagine it made the game feel a lot more natural.
I honestly don't get why they still make consoles with digital control.
Well, nowadays it's getting more and more outdated, so they're trying to fix it.
Well, honestly, I think it's going to get to the point to where consoles are no longer going to be made.
I still think they will, it's just they're going to be having a lot of differences between them.
I mean, not to toot the PC gamers horn or anything, but it's gotten to the point of where the computers have gotten so much more powerful that it can literally do just about anything a console can't. And plus, you have stuff like Steam coming around and all. And
yeah, but consoles have been catching up actually.
Yeah, because there's innovations that the consoles can do that the PCs can't, like motion control,
I mean, don't
touch
get me wrong,
screens,
I'm not dissing
all that
the
kind of stuff.
I'm not trying to diss the consoles or anything, because I am a console gamer, but that's the way I'm seeing things turning. Because, video games are honestly are a lot less popular now than they were in the 90s or 80s, for that matter.
6 or 7 years ago, I would have agreed with you. But right now, because the reason is that a lot of games that are made for console are specifically made for a console, and developers know what specifications they're working with, so they can really push to the max. And with PC, you can't do that. So for that very reason, even though a console is technically less powerful, you can often get more out of it.
Well, here's the thing: when people try to push PCs to the max, you get certain games that you cannot run unless you're using the most expensive hardware out there. That's thousands of dollars. Like Crisis, for example, is one of the worst games to try to get running at a full frame rate with full graphics and everything, because it needs a lot of power.
Exactly, and as a developer, you don't want to do that because you want your game to sell.
Right, you want to be able to work on everything at the very least, so everyone can be able to play it and buy it. So that's where consoles kind of come to a better advantage.
But at the same time, this is also going back to the whole video games not being as popular as they used to be. Because
well, that's mainly because nowadays video games are getting oversaturated with certain genres. Like right now, the biggest genre out there is shooting.
Because the thing is that shoot, I lost my train of thought for a second.
Where are you actually getting that information? Because this is the first decade that games are actually outselling movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Video games, like, when people played, like, the PC games and all, most of those people are hardcore gamers and not, casual ones. So they won't actually mind going out of their way, getting all the stuff needed to do that kind of sort of thing,
There's still certain games that have those issues, like Crisis, like I mentioned. So there's still those issues.
Yeah, there's a few.
Also, I want to bring this up real quick before we go back to this topic. This store here, you can go ahead and just jump straight to the platform. They realize you can do this, and they fix it in the DS port, where they put a glass shielding around that. So you can't jump to the store anymore.
Lame.
Come on, I just want to just jump to it. Because you're supposed to go through that maze room with the bookshelf.
If you can figure it out, Why not, right?
Yeah, well, at least I walked into it by accident and say, hey, here it is, and walk right back out. That's enough, right? To really go back on that topic, it's really... My biggest thing about the PC versus the consoles is just the consoles right now are oversaturated with a certain market. That's why people are getting turned off. It's either with just certain casual or party games or the first-person shooters. And even though they're out selling movies right now, a lot of people are getting turned off to that fact. So there's less and less people trying to get into the gaming community, which is understandable, mind you.
But the same thing also happened with tabletop gaming a few decades ago.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
a decade ago, basically. And that's also coming back, so I don't think it's really a staying factor that this is gonna
It's
collapse.
just a phase, really. All these different entertainment genres and everything, they go through a certain phase, and right now it's just a phase of there are certain titles oversaturating the market, so people get turned off from it. And then there are certain consoles that have certain advantages and disadvantages that also kind of change up the market a bit. That just changes over time.
Because gaming has died before.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then it just got revived. Remember when the Atari was around? E.T.,
Exactly.
Pac-Man? That killed the market. Then the
So what
NES
you're
got
saying-
brought over, and Super Mario Bros. Revived it.
So what you're saying is that a game was in a like the gaming was in a current state of like being less popular, but it's slowly getting back to where it's peaking like it did with Mario and everything again.
In a
Yeah.
sense, yeah. I mean, right now it's not to that peak yet, but in a few years it can be right back up to that peak where it's pretty dang close to where
I
it
think
first
that'll
began.
happen once shooters stop becoming the main like genre everybody plays.
Well, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
if I would have to guess who's going to be the market leaders at that point, because I think the big three sort of had their run at this point.
Yeah, true. Less and less people now are
You know, to
getting
be
into
honest,
Activision's company. A lot of people don't like Activision
to be
anymore.
honest, to be completely honest, I can see like sandbox games being like the new main genre.
Well,
like,
at the same time, they were a big thing back in like 2003 and 4, so...
Yeah, I think I've never actually seen an actual proper sandbox, at least not in the last 5 years.
I mean, the last real big one I've seen, I think it's probably Red Dead Redemption, and that was 2010.
don't forget Saints
Ye-
Row the Third.
Well, yeah, there's that too, but at the same time, it was two things. It was a big sandbox, and it was a big parody game. Because it parodied so many things.
Yeah, that's true. But, for example, I honestly think that if we discounted the big three as having a huge impact after the revival, I honestly think it's going to be the game of Ubisoft and Valve.
Well, Ubisoft's really just depending because it just... If they get their act together with certain game franchises, then they can pull straight ahead. No problem. A lot of people got disappointed because of... Oh, this is probably one of those cuts I left in. Okay, now I feel embarrassed. Alright,
keep talking.
but, like,
What
for
were you
example,
doing?
one of the things that Ubisoft did that angered a lot of people was Rayman Legends, where it was basically done, ready to be released, and then all of a sudden they delayed it for other console releases. That's the kind of stuff that puts them behind, but if they fix stuff like that, then I'm pretty sure they can probably
Sure, but
really have
right
a
now
high end
they
in the market.
are one of the companies with the most original and varied IPs.
Yeah, that's true though. I mean,
And,
Rayman
of
is
course,
getting a big
Valve
comeback in their
It's about
IPs.
to release the Steam box, which is probably gonna take the market.
True. Plus, with their program Greenlight, that gets more indie games out there for people. A lot more people nowadays are playing indie games.
Yeah, if Greenlight would actually work, I would agree with you.
Well, true. For the most part, it doesn't really work as it should, but it gets advertisement for some games out there.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, if Steam can keep up what they're doing now with the competitive pricing on a console, they're gonna outrun the market.
Yeah, from the looks of things so far.